where we have come from, where we are and where we are heading to. Okay, in order to understand this, you need to go and experience Antarctica. That is what she tells here. So when Gondwana was there, so 650 million years ago, so that time lot of flora and fauna, there were vivid lot of flora and fauna that existed. You have to take care of small things which will help the bigger things to fall in place. Hello everyone, I am Dr. Shalini, your English teacher at PrepSchool. I welcome all the young minds of Class 12 Cbse to our session today. Today we are here to understand one of the most interesting topics, that is from Vistas, that is Journey to the End of the Earth. This is really a wonderful lesson, a very interesting one. You'll feel like you have to be there. You must experience that. So such a kind of lesson this is. Okay. So let us first understand what is there in today's session. Okay. So today we'll be learning about the author first. Then we'll move on to the theme. What is the basic theme of this lesson and also the summary of it. Okay. So let us begin to learn about the author. Okay. So the author is Tishani Doshi. Okay, so she is a South Indian writer. Okay, so she has been too much into such activities, like she has visited Antarctica. Then she loves traveling and she loves writing about her visits. Fine. So she is a South Indian writer and she writes this like she went for an expedition on the program Students on Ice. Okay. So she went for this expedition and she writes about that. Okay. So she has written her experience about that in this lesson. Okay. So what is the theme of this lesson? Let us understand. So here this lesson actually gives us an insight to Antarctica. Okay. So how Antarctica is the place where we can experience the history of this earth. Okay. The history of this planet. Okay, so why one should visit Antarctica? In order to get a glimpse of the past, present and future, from where we have come, where we are and where we are heading to. So to understand this, we need to experience Antarctica. Why we should visit Antarctica is the most answered question here. Okay, so this actually provides an insight to Antarctica in a realist form. Fine. So this is the basic theme of the lesson here. Okay. So let us understand the summary now. Okay. So she is from a South Indian state. Okay. So she is from a place where they worship sun god. Okay. And she will go on an expedition to the ice cold country. Okay, so she writes about her expedition. Let us see what she has written in her experience. Okay, so she starts with introduction of Jeff Green. Okay, so he is a Canadian who started the Students on Ice. Okay, he is running this program even now. Okay, so 2018-19 also this program was there. So it is like a scholarship wherein students can go on an expedition to Antarctica, like the ice cold countries, mainly to Antarctica, in order to understand the history of the earth. Okay, so this lesson actually begins with that saying only. Okay, so the author says, in order to understand the past, present and future of earth, where we have come from, where we are and where we are heading to. Okay, in order to understand this, you need to go and experience Antarctica. That is what she tells here. Fine. So she introduces Jeff Green, who is running this program. He is a Canadian and he is running this scholarship program, that is Students on Ice. So this would help in developing the awareness in the respect towards our planet. So the Student on Ice, this program actually takes students to Antarctica and gives them an insight to the history of Earth, and this will help students who are very keen on protecting Earth, who are very keen on contributing something to the environment. So this program actually gives an insight to that and helps them create awareness. Okay, so they themselves will be aware and they will go back and create awareness among their people. So this is the motto of this Students on Ice program. Okay, so that is what is going on till date. So that is what the program is all about. Fine. So Antarctica actually lacks biodiversity. There are not many vivid diversity that is there. Okay, so you can see in Amazon, there are a lot of species that are present. Whereas in Antarctica, it is not so. It is the opposite. Fine. There is not much of biodiversity there. It very limited part. Okay. So what are there? There are very limited organisms, we can say, in Antarctica. Okay. So it actually lacks biodiversity. The author begins her journey from 1309 degrees north of equator, that is from Madras. Okay. So her journey begins from this latitude. Okay. 1309 degrees north, that is from the equator, and that is from Madras. Okay. What does she have to do? She starts from there. She had to travel for 100 hours altogether. Fine. So what does she do? She crosses 9 time zones. Means, you know, right, from one latitude to another latitude, variation in time. Every 15 degree, I think there is a variation in time, isn't it? So she crosses 9 time zones and 6 checkpoints. Checkpoints means in this program, they would have provided some checkpoints, like you have to reach this point at this time. Then you have to travel from here to here in this time range. So like this, they would have given checkpoints, means some destinations wherein those people have to reach over there. Okay. So she crosses 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, and also 3 oceans she has to cross. Okay. Then at the same time, she had to cross many ecospheres. Okay. So there only author would have seen lot of biodiversity. Okay. Lot of change in flora and fauna. Fine. So this is what the author is talking about here, what and all she crosses. Then altogether it was a 100-hour journey, as she tells. It is a 100-hour journey. Altogether means she's talking from Madras to Antarctica. Okay. So it is a total of 100-hour journey. Then what happens? How does the journey go further? Narrator also talks about Gondwana. Gondwana you might have heard, right? It is actually a massive landmass. Okay, it was a massive landmass which existed 650 million years ago. Okay, so that time there was no human existence. No humans were there, and there was dinosaurs were present during that time. Fine. So due to some external force, when dinosaurs went extinct, so that time this Gondwana also broke up. Okay, so then this landmass moved towards the north and it actually formed this Antarctica. Okay, then again African part actually moved towards south and that formed another different landmass. Okay, so when the landmass moved towards north, that was when that Himalayas were formed. That also the author talks about. Okay. So here there were no humans, there were lot of flora and fauna that were existing that time. Okay. So when Gondwana was there, so 650 million years ago, so that time lot of flora and fauna, there were vivid lot of flora and fauna that existed in Antarctica. But after it broke and the landmass started drifting, so that time only they all started getting extinct. It was much hotter before. Okay, when Gondwana existed, the temperature was much hotter, but now it is actually chilling cold over there. Okay, those changes, there are a lot of climatical changes that have happened there. Fine. She also tells about the depletion of ozone layer. Fine. And also the Cordilleran folds that existed. Okay, Cordilleran folds are the geographical masses. Okay, so that is present over there, the geographical features present in that area, that is Antarctica. Okay, she also talks about ozone layer, how it is getting depleted. She also talks about, like, as she is talking about how time has changed, in the same time she talks about the change in the climate and also the depletion of ozone layer. What are the effects of this climate change over this ozone? What is our contribution towards that? So she talks about everything over there. Fine. Narrator stayed there for 2 weeks. Narrator stays in Antarctica for 2 weeks, that is 15 days. Okay. So there she gets to experience lot of things. Okay. She gets to see all the living organisms that are there and also the marine life she experiences. Okay. So what does she see over there? There was no human life, as I told earlier when Gondwana was there, but only midgets, mites and blue whales were existing. Okay. Blue whale, you know, the biggest animal on earth, right? So that also was existing. Fine. So these are very small organisms that were existing. Blue whale is the massive organism. So humans actually have spoiled this environment. Fine. Till the humans could enter, there was no harm at all. But after the humans' entry, there was a lot of harm to the environment. Humans started spoiling the environment. Fine. So the climate change started happening. Fine. After the humans came, like humans started affecting the nature. Okay, so he started utilizing nature for his greed, and that time what happened, it started affecting on the climate. So since there was a change in the climate, what happens, the melting of this West Atlantic ice started. Okay, so as the ice started melting, and this disrupted the Gulf Stream. Okay, the water content actually started increasing. So as soon as the ice started melting, it started getting into that stream. Fine. So it started entering that Gulf Stream, and that started increasing. So the volume of that Gulf Stream has started increasing now. The author talks about the effect of climate on this. Okay. So how the temperature increase has affected the climate is what the author is talking about. Fine. So next she talks about depletion of ozone layer that will affect the activities of phytoplankton. So what is phytoplankton? Phytoplankton is a small plants kind of thing that is there in the under the sea. Okay, so that is very small. So here the author talks about phytoplankton in order to tell the readers that when small things, when you take care of the small things, big things will fall into place. Okay, so let me just explain to you. There is some effect on this phytoplankton. Okay, depletion of ozone layer will affect this phytoplankton, the activities of this, and when phytoplankton vanishes, that is the food for the marine life. Okay, so few fish eat that also. So when that actually diminishes, then that will affect the fish. Those fish are actually food for some other fish. So that will be affected in another way, like some other cycle. So this is actually a cycle that affects something else. That again, that depletion of the bigger organisms will affect the other things there. Okay, so finally it is an effect on humans only. Okay, it's like a parable the author is talking about. Okay, so she uses the word parable of phytoplankton, means the depletion of phytoplanktons will affect the climate in a huge way. Okay, so that's the reason you have to take care of small things which will help the bigger things to fall in place. Fine. So small things actually make perfection is what the author tells us. Okay. So she talks about phytoplankton also. Then at 65.55 degrees south of equator, group stops to see this crab eater seals. Okay, so there is a seal which eats only the crabs. Okay, so they stop there and watch that crab eater seal. That is actually a very famous organism that is there in Antarctica, crab eater seal. Okay, so like people come there to fish for this crab also. Okay, so there are many places wherein that fishing places wherein they come to fish this crabs also, and also there are these seals which come to eat these crabs. Okay, so they eat only crabs. Fine. So crab eater seals are there and they are sitting on the periphery. Periphery means a flat surface. Okay, so that place they sit and they wait for the crabs and they eat that. Okay, so that's actually a very mesmerizing moment for this author. Okay, so the whole group watches that and they start from there. Tishani, that is the author, is actually overwhelmed with the beauty of balance, how environment balances itself in Antarctica. Okay, so she is overwhelmed. She feels very happy to see all that. At the same time, she gets to learn lot of things. Okay, so she talks about that, how overwhelmed she is, how happy she starts feeling. She tells about in the completing part of the lesson. Fine. So then she has many unanswered questions. Okay, she gets lot of questions in her mind when she is looking at all these organisms and the environment over there. Fine. All these answers are actually unanswered. She is not able to ask anybody because she knows she doesn't have an answer. Like whoever she is asking also will not have an answer for that. Okay, so that's the reason they are all unanswered questions. But at the same time, she is very optimistic. She hopes for the best, that the next generation, whatever the coming generation is, that is full of idealism in order to save Earth. Okay, she wants to create awareness in the coming generation and she is very hopeful that she will be able to create an awareness and the coming generation will contribute in a positive way to save Earth. So that is what she thinks of. Okay, so this is the summary of the journey to the end of the Earth. Okay, so end of the Earth, yes, it is towards the polar regions that the people are traveling in this lesson. Okay, so this was all the summary about journey to end of the Earth. Yes, I have not given you the complete summary. I want you to go through so that you will also experience the joy of visiting Antarctica. Okay, so you can probably you cannot go and experience that journey, but if you read this, you'll be really happy, you'll be really concerned about what contribution we have to give to save earth. Okay, so this will create an awareness in your minds also, and you can create awareness among your fellow beings. Okay, so this was the summary here. Please go through the lesson. Any doubts, please make a note in your textbook. Come back to me in the live class so that I can clarify your doubt then and there. So see you soon in another more interesting topic. Till then, keep learning, stay safe. Bye-bye.